Okay, we'll open it up for questions for Harrison. The first question. John, start with you on the left here, first row. Mike coming.
How important was it in L.A. to get those at-bats against Shohei Ohtani?
Yeah, I think towards the end of the season there and everything, you're just kind of have your mind on the playoffs. Obviously, you're staying present, but you're just trying to get as many looks as possible because at some point you're going to see these guys again. Down to seeing Ohtani, seeing their pitching staff, understanding how the ball skips in center field when it gets a little wet out there towards the end of the nights, the routes, all the little things that are going to become big things, I think, when we're playing on all sides of the ball eventually back in LA. So, yeah, I think you're just gathering information, and, of course, you're taking those games seriously because we were still playing for something there. But in the back of your head as competitors, you're always planning for the next opportunity. So I think getting a look from him was good. But, listen, at the end of the day, he might, do something totally different. So can't put too much stock in what has already happened. You can only take notes and have multiple plans for what you think you might see. So I'm excited to go out there and just, attack their team with my teammates.
Okay, you're going to go here on the right in the middle.
Harrison, whenever you've been brought onto a new team, your energy and your ability to assimilate into a new clubhouse has always stood out. So what's your experience been like coming over to the Phils in the midst of a postseason run?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think just my contract status has kind of allowed some flexibility in there, which is great, I think every team I've signed with has had every intention of going to the postseason, but I think this year was the first time where that plan didn't kind of work out with the Twins, which is okay. It's just all part of the game, and I'm just thankful that with that flexibility, the Phillies took advantage of giving me an opportunity, to come here and help them win. And from my perspective, I think taking advantage of that opportunity was my only focus. And I've been asked that question a number of times, and I think the answer really is simply in between the white lines at this level. Winning baseball is a universal language. We all have different backgrounds and different routes maybe to that locker room, but when it comes down to getting with a group of guys and working towards one ultimate goal, I think regardless of those backgrounds or that journey, it's a universal language, and it's one I certainly know how to speak. My dad, my parents, every coach I've had along the way, I've been very fortunate to help me along in making that language, if you will, more natural to me. And I've only gotten better at speaking it, I guess. So, with that said, I think this is just a great opportunity, one that I plan to take full advantage of. And it was a great 2 months, but, as far as I'm concerned, the season kind of resets and we get to go back to, the version and brand of baseball we played as a kid, which was just trying to win a World Series. For me, it was, being a New Yorker, I had the teams I looked up to and the players I looked up to, and many times they were hoisting trophies, and that's why I started playing. So, regardless of the uniform, I'm certainly happy it's in Philadelphia with this organization, but this is a dream that, I think a lot of us have had for a long time, so I'm just excited to dive into it.
Okay,
And
I'm sorry. Go ahead, yes. Follow up.
And I know you're keenly focused on, staying in the moment with the task at hand, but how has your previous success in the postseason, helped prepare you for this moment?
Yeah, you can't really play hero ball. I think keeping it super simple, trying to take your single, having a good at-bat, passing the baton, all these little things will ultimately create a favorable result. You'll have hero moments, guys will have hero moments, but you're not thinking that going into the at-bat. It's really where the process is so important, and it's kind of why players talk about the process so intensely, because when the noise increases and the pressure of the situation kind of increases, the process in finding that result is what's really kind of is important. And I just think that it's just a group of guys that kind of know how to do that, and we've been practicing that and preaching that all year. So now it's just a matter of execution. And I think if you pair, some preparation with just living in the moment and enjoying it, I think you're going to find yourself on the favorable end of those results. So, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go first row here. Howard?
Harrison, good to see you. I have a couple of things. One, just in terms of your ability to hit righties, the last couple of years, that's gone up. Obviously, it was something you did real well earlier in your career. This year especially, there's actually a reverse platoon split going on where you're hitting for power and average against fastballs, off speed, doesn't much matter. What have just like writ large been the adjustments you've taken against right-handed pitchers?
Nice. I like this question. Yeah, I think, you know, I was certainly aware of the statements that were made by various organizations. And I don't take those any way other than simply finding a way to get better. You know, there's a reason why they think that, and numbers certainly prove that, so we have to get better. There's really no emotion about it. It is what it is. And sustaining an injury at the end of 2023 was challenging, and working my way back really all of last year, where I didn't really recognize myself as an athlete. You know, my twitch on my backside, where my adductor was located, was slightly off, and it really was just a matter of time. But when that time kind of ran its course, I had the ability to take a step back and really just invest in myself and invest in, you know, who I really wanted to be. And that was a player that didn't want to go back to who I was. I wanted to be someone new. I wanted to understand my body in a different way, and wherever I was from an athletic standpoint and physical standpoint was one I just wanted to grow on and build on, and I invested in myself and finding a really good biomechanist down in Tampa, and we do all of our reports together. We study, we got in front of cameras day in and day out to make sure that whatever I thought was going on, or if it wasn't there, then I need to fix it. And then from there, from an athletic standpoint, you just apply it to a baseball swing. And, you know, I've been an athlete my entire life, so being in tune with my body is something that I've always just been sensitive to. And I think once I kind of understood where I was at from a physical standpoint, we attacked, you know, righties, we attack lefties, we attack everything. But specifically for righties, like you mentioned, I guess to answer your question, I'm aware of how I get pitched, and you have different plans, you know. So you just attack different parts of the zone, and you just rinse and repeat, honestly. And the offseason gives us a time to kind of gather that information as opposed to judgment and use it to our benefit. So, yeah, it's an ongoing thing. It's never going to end, and this game is always about evolving and growing and going out with whatever you got and making it successful. So in many ways, I kind of hit that reset after that surgery, but I'm happy I did and just continue down the path.
And just to follow up on that, on the defensive side of the ball, and maybe this is part of it, you know, your defensive metric numbers in center field are excellent this year. I'm wondering how much, as you think about the adjustment here in Philly, the ability to play center field and play it regularly helped play a part, whether that's also, you know, as you guys face a question, mutual option about what you want to do, how much playing in center field do you think was central to what you were able to do here down the stretch?
Yeah, sure. I mean, anything with a, you know, contract, a mutual option or whatnot, I'll reserve that for when the season's over. But, you know, I knew what I was getting myself into in Minnesota and playing left field. Byron Buxton, who's one of my favorite players growing up, you know, in this league and playing in this league. I knew I was going to play alongside him. I knew he was going to be healthy, so I was excited to dive back into left field. I think it just gave me a really good opportunity to show not only myself, but, you know, teams that I can play both positions, which I think is valuable. Last time I played left field for an extended period of time was at the University of Florida. And like I mentioned, you know, that gave me a better understanding of how the ball comes off the bat. You know, left field's tough, especially with the righties when they snap hook the ball. You know, lefty fly balls, they come back. There's just a lot of, you know, there's some nuances to it, and diving back into that energy and attacking it, obviously at the big league level, what I think was fun. I think there was a slight adjustment period, but, you know, I loved every second of it. I really did. So I feel really comfortable in both positions. I just want at-bats. I want as many at-bats as possible. I want to help a team win. I want to get on base as much as possible. I want to score as much as possible. And if that comes down to playing left field, then so be it. But also get an opportunity kind of in Philly to prove that I can obviously still play center field. You know, I think it's just great. You know, I want it more than anything. I want it all the time. So if I got to play left or center, I could do it. So, yeah, I just really just have fun with it and go out there and be the best contributing asset to a team as possible.
Destiny, second row on the right.
Harrison, you played against Kyle Schwarber in college, and you saw him a lot in the NL Central earlier in your career. What did you think of him back then, and what do you think of his evolution as a hitter overall?
Yeah, at the University of Florida, when he was in Indiana, he hit. I remember him parking, I don't know how many balls it was over scoreboard in right field. But no, it looked like he just flicked it out. He's just extremely strong, just really good base of a hitter. You know, knew where his barrel was at. He just did an incredible job. His bat to ball ability has always, as far as I've seen since college, has always been incredible. And listen, I think consistency is one of the toughest things that we search for in this game, especially at this level. And at every level, I've never not seen him hit. I think anyone sitting in this chair would say the same exact thing. So now that I'm on his team, I'm certainly happy that I don't have to watch those balls fly to the park anymore. But listen, he's just had an incredible year. Every place he's gone, you know, I've been in a number of teams, but so has he. And he's been a contributing factor in every single one of those teams in the postseason, all season, but also more especially in the postseason, which I just respect tremendously. So I think a lot of us can gain and try to model our game after his at the plate. So, you know, what that comes down to is just his poise, his relaxation. You know, he doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. He knows he has another swing coming, and it might be the biggest one of the night. So, you know, I'm a huge Kyle Schwarber fan, and every level I've seen him at, he's never not hit. And it's amazing. So I have tremendous respect for him.
And on another note, everybody knows that crop tops are your thing, but some of your teammates started wearing them. Like, did you nudge them toward that, or did they just kind of pick it up?
I would never nudge another grown man to wear a crop top like this. But they did it on their own, which shows you that we're really kind of bonded here. I think the crop tops are just, listen, it's just fun. It is what it is. I don't read too much into it, but just makes the the hot summer days a little lighter. You know, shave off some fabric. It's always good. And then obviously when the teammates started doing it, I thought it was fun. It's all in good fun, you know, and it's just in a weird way, it just shows a level of togetherness that is you ride some energy for a couple weeks, and you know we move on to the next thing as a team. So I was happy to see some guys rocking crop tops out there for sure.
We're going to go far left in the first row.
I was going to ask that question. I'm glad Destiny asked it instead of me. But along those same lines, did you feel a comfortability right away with this clubhouse, being as that it's so tight-knit? These guys have been together basically forever. Did it feel seamless when you came here?
Yeah, it did. You know, but at the same time, there really wasn't any time to think about anything other than how am I going to help this team win today? You know, I think maybe when the game was over, I kind of thought to myself at times, you know, do I fit in here, this and that? But I think that was quickly, those thoughts quickly went away once I realized a couple of days in the clubhouse and just seeing how guys interacted, that there were no cliques. You know, there's no cliques. It's just about coming here, doing your job, executing. And if you don't, you come back tomorrow and do the same exact thing. But you always keep the energy high. You remain positive for your teammates. And I just learned that very quickly. So I think the transition was extremely seamless. But again, listen, at the end of the day, you know, it's a lot easier to get along with your teammates when you prove to them and show them and you gain their respect by playing winning baseball, preparing like a winning player, talking in the dugout to help the team win, and just overall just being someone who turns yourself over to that win every day, doing what you can to help the team win. And I think I was easily and better, you know, received, if you will, once I kind of proved that was what I was all about, which is always what I'm all about, because this is what I do. This is what we do, you know. This is all we care about every single day. So locker rooms, I think, that do that the best, go the farthest. So yeah.
Okay, we got time for one more. Far left in the back.
Harrison, at this time a year ago, you were down in the other clubhouse. You were on the other side of this atmosphere. You've been pretty well received by the fans in just a couple of months. What's that meant to you? I know you were signing autographs for a while after the intra-squad game the other night. And how excited are you to be on this side of the postseason atmosphere tonight?
Yeah, I'm happy you asked that question. You know, the fans are really kind of what keep us all going. You know, especially here, the fans play a large role in what makes this place so special. I learned that very quickly. You know, the first or second thing that was said to me after I kind of got in the clubhouse was waiting to see the fans out there. And then, you know, we get in the postseason, waiting to see them then. And obviously at that point we had a long way to go, but that was certainly on the radar. And everybody talks about the fans here. So, you know, every place I've gone, they've had tremendously passionate fans. You know, St. Louis was amazing. Got a chance to play for the New York Yankees. Obviously, that was great. New York Mets, the fans in their own right are also very passionate and very, very, very special, I think. And now I get to play, you know, with the Phillies. And nothing's changed. And I'm just extremely grateful to go out there and compete and, live out my passion in front of fans that really, in a different way, share the same level of passion that I do. And, the thing that baseball players at this level and fans also share in common is their desire to win, whatever really it takes, doesn't really matter what or how you do it. But just the passion and the consistency among all the fans and just simply wanting to win. And that's kind of what drives it here, right, is about that winning culture and everything. And I think the fans reflect that tremendously. So, obviously we tipped our hats and everything, and of course I did that to go off that practice, but I just thought it was nice to kind of engage with the kids and the young fans and everything. And it's really what it was all about. I've been in that position before, and I've really emulated those major leaguers I looked up to at a young age. So always hand it back and just you do it for the fans. You try to deliver the best you can. So I'm excited to go out there and experience it on this side, and I'm certainly looking forward to the energy.
Harrison, thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.
Rob Thomson will be in shortly. Okay, John, want to start us off, John? Yeah. Who's got the first question?
Why did you...
Wait for the mic, John. I'm sorry.
Why did you come to the determination you wanted to go with Jesus Luzardo in Game 2?
He's just pitched so well the last month, and he had pitched prior to Ranger during the regular season. It just made the most sense to me. We'll have Ranger available out of the pen tonight. We'll have Nola available if there's an emergency. So,
Next question, right here on the right-hand side, second row.
Obviously, Rob, based off of what Ranger did a few years ago, he can pitch out of that role, but what do you see? What kind of pocket would you imagine using him in this game?
well, I'm really comfortable with our leverage guys at the end, starting in the sixth inning. So it'd probably be early. Could be an extra inning game, that type of thing for tonight.
And for Nola, just what do you see overall as kind of his role in this series?
Well, he could be length, he could be starting, because I'm not announcing a Game 3 starter until after Monday's game, just to see how it all plays out.
Okay, next question. Howard in the first row. All right.
Hey, Rob, in terms of Harrison Bader and what he's brought for this team, I know at the time of the deadline, in your mind, there was, you need to see an outfielder kind of grab on the roles if you were going to give him regular time. He ultimately became, essentially your day-to-day center fielder. What allowed him to do that, and what have you seen in him that's been that value add against righties and lefties?
Well, his numbers this year anyway are better, a little bit better against righties than lefties. But, from day one, we knew that we were getting good defense, plus defense. And then he got hotter than a pistol there for a while. He's cooled off a little bit, but he looked pretty good in the last couple of days. So, but he's just played himself into the everyday center fielder in my mind, just because of the defense, and I trust that he's going to swing the bat. He's going to get on base, and hitting him in the 8 slot today. It's more about turning the lineup over with him and Stott at the end, and then we get to Trey and Schwarber and Harper. So. Yeah, he's played great for us, and I love the energy, and I love the sort of the confidence he brings to the team.
In the back on the left.
Rob, with AutoChem, kind of two-part question. One, what do you see as a role for him? Where do you trust him right now in the field? And just overall, a guy who was an undrafted free agent, came up and really made a big impact a few different times this year. How cool is that to see for him? And now he's part of a postseason roster. Yeah,
it's a great story. Being undrafted, I think part of the reason he was undrafted, he had some injury issues in his draft here. But, it's a great story. He's worked hard. He can play all over the diamond, swings the bat. He's got a great approach. I see either him or Wilson probably playing left field against left-handed pitching, possibly pinch hit. Wilson's more of a pinch run type guy than Kemp is. But, I really like his ability, and I think he's got a great future.
Okay, right here in the first row.
Hi, Rob.
Hi.
So Trey Turner yesterday said he had yet to go, 100%.
What gives you confidence that he can lead off today, and what have you seen from him over the last few days and in the scrimmage that makes you feel like he can not miss a beat when he's out there?
Yeah, maybe he said he didn't go 100%, but I think he thinks he can go 100%. He played 7 innings in that inter-squad game the other night, moved around well, ran balls out probably at 90%. So I think he's ready to go, and I'm glad he's ready to go. He did a great job. You know, we kept him back here when we went to L.A. and Arizona, and trainers kept telling us that we're back here that he's doing great, he's getting better, but we got back and we saw it firsthand, and they were correct. They did a great job.
You going to go down here in the front row?
Hi, Rob. So the ball club released its postseason hype video this morning, and Zach Wheeler had an appearance at the end of it where he basically said October is why you guys do this. How much is Zach around the club right now? And if he's around a lot, how much does that help the team?
Yeah, he gives us a lot of confidence, even if he's not playing or pitching. He's here today. I can tell you that. How much he's going to be with us, I'm not 100% sure, but he wanted to be here today, and I'm glad he's here. And you know, he's just a great person to have around. You know, he just has that aura about him.
Anything else for Rob? John, Mike, in the middle.
Hi, Rob. You guys added Walker Buehler not too long ago. What has he brought to the clubhouse, not only when it comes to his success and being a competitor, but also as a guy who's been a teammate of the team you're going to face off with here?
Yeah, I think he's given some information to our pitching coaches, and he's a winner. You know, it's like having wheels around. You know, he's a winner. He has that aura about him. Yeah, we're going to use him out of the pen in this series. Whether it's for length or for 1 inning, that's to be seen. But yeah, he's a great teammate. He's in the middle of everything in that clubhouse, and he's a good guy to have around, and he's got a lot of talent.
Okay, second row right here.
Hey, Rob. Bader was good for you no matter where you put him in the lineup in the last 2 months. What do you like about the construction of the lineup today with him hitting 8th that makes you feel like it could be successful?
Yeah, as I said before, I like him there because I think because he can get on base in a number of different ways, he can turn that lineup over for Trey and Schwarber and Harp. And plus, we had to with all their lefties in their bullpen, we had to go right, left, all the way down, other than the Schwarber-Harper tandem. So, yeah, he gives us a lot of length in that lineup if he's swinging a bat.
Okay, John, left.
And what do you like about Stott in that final spot? And does that speak to the depth of this lineup? You've seen Bryson kind of turn around his swing and find his swing. What do you think about when you fill out that lineup card, having Bader and Stott there at the end?
Yeah, 2 guys that have potential to get on base for the guys at the top. And Stotty's been swinging the bat great. Like you said, they made that adjustment earlier in the year, and since then he's taken off, and he looks like the guy that we think he is that line drive, gap guy, occasional power, really control the strike zone, and he's done it. So hopefully he keeps doing that.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Okay.